babes, we have mob ties, we have federal judges clapping cheeks in their chambers, and we have Hampton squatters leaving dirty martini shakers in Jill Zarin's bed.
I mean, it is an absolute, just unmitigated disaster out there today. Like, the pop culture ecosystem is completely collapsing in on itself, and I am unwell.
Babes, welcome back and happy Monday. We love you, we see you, and babes, thank you for being here.
We truly do.
Like, honestly, for anyone new joining the Snark Squad today, let's just, set the table. We take the absolute chaos of the internet, the celebrity drama, the reality TV mess, and these completely unnecessary spirals, and we just break it all down.
Right. Like, not just what is happening, but the actual mechanics of how and why these people are losing their minds.
Yeah.
And the docket today is overflowing.
Overflowing. But first, babes, we switched things up this morning. And yes, we went to Starbucks for vanilla bean frappes. And babes, delicious.
Okay, we need to pause and talk about this because we have to look at the clinical reality of what we just consumed at like 7:15 in the morning.
It was an essential, sanity-saving self-care ritual for Monday survival.
We need to confront our own delusions here, honestly. Let's be explicitly clear about the mechanics of a vanilla bean frap.
Wait, don't ruin it for me.
It is a milkshake. It is literally a vanilla milkshake pretending to be a morning beverage. We walked into an establishment globally recognized for roasting coffee beans, right?
Yeah.
And we ordered a cup of blended whole milk, ice, and pure vanilla syrup, topped with a literal mountain of whipped cream. There was objectively zero caffeine in it.
But it was so good.
We essentially ordered a Dairy Queen Blizzard before 8 a.m. We had dessert for breakfast.
But wait, let me push back on this. It comes in a Starbucks cup with the little green siren logo on it.
That doesn't legally change its molecular structure.
It legally makes it coffee in the eyes of the universe. It is on the breakfast menu, okay? You drink it with the green straw. The corporate branding provides a psychological shield that allows me to categorize it as, morning fuel rather than an impending sugar crash.
It is the vanilla bean frap delusion. It's a sugary lie we tell ourselves to survive the modern work week.
Exactly.
Or drinking cake batter while sitting in morning traffic. But analytically speaking, I do have to admit something.
Oh, here we go.
The resulting glucose spike did drastically improve my mood before my first patient. Like, it rewired my dopamine receptors so effectively that I am already meticulously planning tomorrow's order.
I knew it. What are you getting?
I'm thinking the caramel ribbon crunch frappe with extra crunch.
Yes. See, Mondays demand emotional support beverages. You cannot face a Monday without something in your hand that brings you pure, unadulterated comfort. It's a tactical survival choice.
It really is.
But speaking of things we can't face, babes, we are once again recording early this evening because apparently the drama gods remain committed to dropping gossip at the most inconvenient times possible.
It is a documented phenomenon at this point. I am entirely convinced that celebrity PR teams and Bravo executives have somehow gained unauthorized access to our shared Google Calendar.
They absolutely have.
They look at it, they see that we have back-to-back dental patients, 3 root canals, and a mandatory staff meeting, and they say, perfect, hit send on the multi-million-dollar bankruptcy statement right now.
It's a universal trauma. I was literally sitting in my operatory today, and I had exactly 4 minutes between patients. 4 minutes.
A dangerous amount of time.
Right. My assistant was flipping the room, and I said to myself, just one quick scroll. Let me just check Instagram for 1 single minute to cleanse my palate before I go drill a cavity.
The one quick scroll is the greatest psychological trap of the 21st century.
Babes, next thing I know, I have lost 45 minutes to a messy comment section. I am deep into the replies of a reality star's cousin's burner account. I am taking screenshots of deleted tweets, and my dental assistant is knocking on the door looking at me like I have lost my mind.
It's a vortex designed by algorithms to hold you hostage. And today's vortex was just particularly deep.
It really wouldn't stop. Okay, babes, let's discuss today's work, highs and lows. Because, as a reminder to the Snark Squad, we are both real-life dentists working at entirely different practices.
Right, living double lives as pop culture gossip podcasters. Fixing molars by day, dissecting Bravo timelines by night.
A true Hannah Montana situation, but, with more dental floss and unhinged reality TV rants.
Exactly.
My low today, babes, I am still emotionally recovering from this. So, in a dental office, we have a sterile supply closet, right?
The Holy Grail.
For the listeners who don't know, this isn't just a regular closet. It is the most crucial, meticulously organized, sterilized area. I walk in there today to grab a fresh box of surgical gauze. And what do I find tucked strategically behind a massive box of sterilization pouches?
Please don't say what I think you're going to say.
A half-eaten family-sized bag of premium sea salt caramels.
No, absolutely not. In the sterile supply.
In the sterile supply.
That is a fundamental breakdown of clinic protocol.
Someone on my staff has been using the most strictly regulated infection control closet in the entire clinic as their personal secret snack vault. I was aghast. The betrayal.
The sheer audacity to risk an OSHA health code violation for a handful of sea salt caramel.
Right. And my high. I spent the rest of the entire afternoon conducting a secret, internal, emotional investigation.
Of course you did.
I was interrogating everyone's eye contact during the afternoon huddle to figure out who the snack bandit is. I felt like an undercover detective.
See, you treat a minor protocol breach like you were hosting a thrilling true crime podcast.
I was dusting for caramel fingerprints.
Meanwhile, my load today was a legitimate crisis of logistics that I'm still dissecting. We had a delivery of premium PVS dental impression material.
Oh, the expensive stuff.
Highly expensive. For the Snark Squad, this is the stuff we use to make highly accurate molds of your teeth. It is incredibly temperature sensitive and needs to be stored immediately.
Right.
The delivery driver, who apparently lacks basic geographical navigational skills, delivered this massive, sensitive box to Suite B. We are in Suite A.
Oh no! Wait, Sweet Bee is the podiatrist next door, right?
Yes. So my highly sensitive dental molds are sitting in a foot doctor's waiting room right next to pamphlets about bunion surgery.
No.
The breakdown in the supply chain is frankly unacceptable. I spent 20 minutes tracking it down, treating it like a federal crime, interrogating the podiatrist's receptionist like she was harboring stolen goods.
You literally act like the FBI needs to be called because a cardboard box went to the wrong door. You were ready to subpoena the foot doctor.
It's the principle of logistical integrity. If we can't trust the delivery drivers, society collapses.
You are so dramatic.
But my high actually happened before work.
Oh my gosh. Babes, we have an announcement. Prepare yourselves. This morning, before work, while suffering from the Monday scaries, we actually used our Pilates reformers.
A brief, shocking, and highly out-of-character moment of fitness success.
I am emotionally shocked that I didn't hit snooze. When that alarm went off at 5:30 a.m., my bed felt like it had a gravitational magnetic field pulling me back.
I know the feeling.
But I rolled out, I got on that machine, and I pulled those straps. I honestly feel like we should officially update our social media bios to wellness influencers. We are basically Goop now.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves and start selling jade eggs just yet.
I am Gwyneth Paltrow.
Analytically, while I was on the reformer, I was already calculating the onset of delayed onset muscle soreness. DOMS is a very real physiological response.
Don't remind me.
By tomorrow morning, the lactic acid buildup in my obliques is going to make it mechanically impossible for me to lean over a patient's chair. I will be practicing dentistry standing completely upright.
Like a rigid wooden board. But honestly, this is such a massive victory for us.
It is.
The fact that we both did it, we should probably buy lottery tickets today. The stars are aligned.
If we won the lottery today, the unhinged things I would do.
Babes, we are talking hundreds of millions of dollars. First of all, the way I would walk out of my dental practice would be deeply cinematic.
Oh, I'm sure.
I wouldn't even take my white coat off. I wouldn't give a 2-week notice. I would just gently drop the dental drill on the tray, look at my assistant, whisper, "I'm rich, babes," and literally moonwalk out of the operatory straight into a waiting town car.
I would be so unbearable. I wouldn't quit immediately because I like the routine, but I would just become incredibly, profoundly difficult to work with.
You would terrorize the front desk.
I would start demanding my vanilla bean frap to be delivered to the clinic on a literal silver platter. And let's be real. If we won a joint lottery ticket, you would waste your half the money first.
Excuse me. Disrespect.
You absolutely would. You would buy a private island just to host extravagant Bravo viewing parties. You'd invest in some reality star's terrible tequila brand, and you'd be completely bankrupt in 3 years.
I am offended.
You would be living back in my guest room while I conservatively live off the municipal bond interest of my winnings.
The accuracy of the tequila investment is hurtful, but I accept it. I would definitely try to become a real housewife. But speaking of hurtful babes, we need to address a developing crisis.
We do.
Let me shift to a serious tone right now. We have a situation that threatens the very fabric of this show. I was invited to a highly anticipated drag bingo event in a few weeks, and my bestie here, my co-host, was not.
I am spiraling.
Yeah.
I'm spiraling hard. I am personally victimized. I am professionally slighted.
Stop it.
Let's break down the logistics of friendship here, because there are unspoken societal contracts we all abide by. Besties are a package deal. It is a fundamental human right that if you invite one half of a podcaster duo to an event, the other half is automatically, intrinsically the plus one.
Okay, let me defend myself. Because you are making me look like a villain. It is not my fault.
It is in the constitution of friendship. You do not separate the unit.
The venue capacity is extremely limited. It's this tiny little underground place. And the friend group dynamics who invited me were already set. It was an incredibly tight guest list. I couldn't just roll in and demand a plus one like I'm Mariah Carey.
Venue capacity, what a convenient, cowardly excuse.
It's true.
You just want all the drag bingo glory for yourself. You're going to be out there sipping a cocktail, aggressively dabbing your card, screaming bingo while a drag queen cheers for you, and I'm going to be sitting at home, trapped in my delayed onset muscle soreness, entirely alone.
You are stoking this fake jealousy into a raging inferno. You would even want to go. You hate loud noises in crowded rooms.
The betrayal is palpable. This raises a sociological question. How do friendships even survive when people have separate friend groups? The answer is, they shouldn't. I am keeping a permanent ledger of this slight.
I will bring you back a prize.
I don't want a cheap plastic prize. I want justice. I want my rightful seat at the table.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, babes, we have way too much gossip to get through to dwell on your treachery. Let's get into it.
Let's kick off the reality TV mess with The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Babes, we need to talk about Liz McGraw. Specifically, her close friend of 20 years, Dino Guilmette.
This is wild.
We have been watching him on the show, right? He seems like just a regular Bravo hanger-on, showing up to dinners, carrying bags. Well, it turns out he isn't just a regular guy. He has been accused of having actual ties to the New England La Cosa Nostra, the mob.
Let's deeply break down the sheer scale of these allegations, because this isn't just a minor infraction or a misunderstood tax error.
Yeah.
According to the Rhode Island State Police and the unsealed affidavits, Dino is accused of overseeing an entire sophisticated network.
A massive network.
We are talking about a smuggling operation involving multi-kilograms of cocaine coming into the United States from an origin likely in the Caribbean.
Babes, kilograms.
He is facing massive multiple felonies. Drug conspiracy, perjury, obtaining property by false pretense. He's potentially facing life in federal prison.
Life in prison. And he's just casually filming a reality show. Let me pause and ask a serious logistical question here. How does Bravo's vetting process fail this spectacularly?
That is the exact mechanism that fascinates me.
If a production company is hiring private investigators to do background checks on these casts and their friends who sign releases, how do they miss a multi-kilogram international cocaine smuggling ring?
Background checks usually flag pending litigation, massive debt, or prior convictions. But if an operation is currently under covert federal or state investigation, that information isn't public record yet.
That makes sense, but still.
The state police described Dino in these legal documents as one of the most surveillance-cognizant individuals they had ever come across. This man is allegedly a master at avoiding detection, sweeping for bugs, operating as a ghost to law enforcement.
A literal ghost.
And yet, the absolute irony, he signs a standard Bravo talent release form to have high-definition cameras and boom mics follow him around at loud dinner parties.
The lack of analytical foresight is staggering. You are successfully hiding from the DEA, but you invite Andy Cohen's producers into your living room.
It is unhinged, the ego required to do that.
And the way Liz is reacting to this on the show makes it even crazier. In episode 2, she was dealing with rumors that they were having an affair because her husband, Jerry, goes on these incredibly long fishing expeditions, and when he's away, Liz is always hanging out with Dino.
Always.
She vehemently denied the affair rumors on camera. She said, "It's all BS. When Jerry wasn't here, I was always with Dino." But babes, I have to push back on Liz's narrative here.
Please do.
You spend 20 years as someone's absolute best friend. You hang out with them constantly while your husband is away on a boat, and you entirely miss the international cocaine smuggling ring.
Exactly. The willful blindness is statistically improbable. You're telling me you never noticed the logistics required to move kilograms of narcotics from the Caribbean. There wasn't a single red flag in 2 decades. If my best friend is secretly running a cartel, I feel like I'd notice a discrepancy in their daily schedule. I'd notice the burner phones. I'd notice the cash transactions.
Like, "Hey, Dino, why do you have 6 cell phones and a duffel bag full of shrink-wrap bricks?" Oh, just doing laundry, Liz. It makes no sense.
It's either profound ignorance or active complicity. But let's pivot from the Bravo criminal element to an actual, literal federal courtroom, because this next legal update is truly unhinged and completely breaks the fourth wall of the justice system.
Yes, Todd Chrisley. Babes, buckle up.
Federal Judge Eleanor Ross. She is the very judge out of Fulton County, Georgia, who presided over Todd and Julie Chrisley's massive tax evasion and fraud trial.
It's the very same one.
And she is the one who ultimately sentenced Todd Chrisley to 12 years in federal prison. Well, Judge Ross was just officially reprimanded for having sex with an Atlanta police officer inside her court chambers during business hours.
I am screaming. Inside the chambers. Wait, for the listeners who don't know the layout of a courthouse, chambers aren't like a soundproof hotel room.
Not at all.
This is her office attached to the courtroom, while court is potentially in session outside.
Exactly. The chambers are the administrative hub. You have clerks, bailiffs, and legal assistants walking around right outside the door. A special investigative committee for the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals had to formally investigate this.
Wow.
They reprimanded her for a gross lack of judgment. And you know, Todd Chrisley, sitting in a federal penitentiary in Pensacola, Florida, got wind of this news.
Oh, he didn't just get wind of it, he entirely combusted. I'm going to read Todd Chrisley's Instagram reaction verbatim, presumably dictated from prison to a family member or posted via a contraband phone.
Let's hear it.
He said Judge Ross is a cheek-clapping, adulterous fornicator. He claimed she ran her judicial chambers like a brothel and demanded she be impeached immediately. Babes, cheek-clapping, adulterous fornicator is a phrase that is permanently etched into my brain. It will haunt me forever.
The vocabulary is purely Shakespearean Southern Gothic. But we must impartially note the sheer scope and strategic delusion of his rant.
It's so delusional.
He didn't just post this rant into the void for his Bravo fans. Todd actively tagged Donald Trump and the former FBI director, Kash Patel, in his post.
Like they're scrolling Instagram.
He is attempting to rally massive political figures and the intelligence community to take down this specific judge. We are strictly observing this as a pop culture phenomenon, taking no stance on the political figures involved, but we have to marvel at the psychological audacity here.
The absolute delusion. Let me get this straight. He's sitting in his cell, wearing a tacky uniform, serving time for a multi-million-dollar bank fraud scheme where they fake documents to get huge loans, and he is trying to get the FBI to investigate a judge's personal hookup.
Yes.
What does he think is going to happen? Does he think the FBI is going to break him out of prison because the judge had a daytime rendezvous?
That is precisely the psychological mechanism of a narcissist who has lost control. When you are incarcerated, you have zero agency. Your entire life is dictated by a warden.
That's true.
So when the authority figure who put you there shows a human flaw, even a massive professional failure like this, the prisoner weaponizes it to regain a sense of moral superiority.
Oh, absolutely.
Todd isn't trying to change his sentence. He's trying to rewrite the narrative so that he is the righteous victim and the judge is the degenerate.
You cannot write this stuff. It is better than any scripted television show. But speaking of unauthorized people engaging in bizarre behavior in places they absolutely shouldn't be, let's talk about some terrifying real estate drama.
Oh, this is wild.
RHONY alum Jill Zarin. Babes, her daughter Ali Shapiro just revealed on TikTok that their massive Hamptons house was invaded by squatters.
This is a terrifying breach of security, especially when you understand the mechanics of Hampton's real estate in the off-season.
Yes, explain this.
These are massive, multi-million-dollar estates that often sit entirely empty for 6 to 8 months out of the year. They are prime targets. Ali shared a series of TikToks detailing the bizarre, almost cinematic clues left behind.
So creepy.
We aren't talking about a standard break-in where someone smashes a window and steals a flat-screen TV to pawn. This was psychological warfare.
The clues were so creepy. Ali walked in and found wet toothbrushes in the bathrooms. Not old toothbrushes, wet ones.
Disgusting.
Open bottles of wine scattered around the kitchen island. A dirty martini shaker left out on the counter. Someone went out of their way to unplug the indoor security cameras. And the most violating detail of all, babes, they found physical evidence that someone actually slept in Jill Zarin's bed.
That is the ultimate violation.
I would burn the bed. The entire mattress. I would probably burn the whole house down and collect the insurance. The thought of a complete stranger sleeping in my high thread count sheets.
Horrific.
And then Jill's boyfriend, Gary Brody, jumped into the TikTok video with this wild, unhinged threat. He looked at the camera and said, "If it was you, don't come back. And remember, after midnight, it's a haunted house. If you come in here, it's dangerous."
What is he talking about?
What does that even mean, Gary? Are you unleashing poltergeists on the Hampton squatters? Is Gary employing ghosts for home security?
It's a very bizarre Scooby-Doo defense strategy. But here is the analytical question that we need to unpack.
Mm.
Allie explicitly stated her gut feeling is that it's someone they know,
Right.
a neighbor or a friend of the family who knew the security codes and knew the house was empty, who breaks into a multi-million-dollar Hamptons mansion, bypassing the art and the jewelry, not to rob the place, but simply to mix a dirty martini, brush their teeth, and take a nap in Jill Zarin's primary suite.
Exactly. Let's think about the logic here. If you're going to risk a massive felony breaking and entering charge, are you really doing it just to have a solo slumber party?
Apparently so.
The toothbrushes were wet. That means the squatters had literally just been there right before Allie and the house manager walked in. They probably left out the back door. Allie thinks they were actively staying there, planning on coming back that night, and were just surprised by the owners showing up early for the summer season.
Unbelievable.
The absolute audacity of throwing a secret VIP party in Jill Zarin's house behind her back.
It's an incredible invasion of privacy, and it highlights the vulnerability of the ultra-wealthy's secondary properties. But if we're going to transition from Hampton's real estate invasions to an absolute systemic financial spiral, we need to go down to Atlanta.
Oh, this one hurts.
RHOA star Pinky Cole, the famous founder of the slutty vegan restaurant empire, is facing a massive, catastrophic $4 million bankruptcy. And the newly filed court documents break down this debt. Item by item, it is a masterclass in financial chaos.
Babes, the numbers are staggering. But explain this to me, because she was just on the Breakfast Club radio show bragging about making double-digit millions. How do you go from a valuation of millions to a multi-million-dollar bankruptcy practically overnight?
Is the paradox of rapid, unchecked expansion. Let's look at the actual ledger from the bankruptcy filings. The structural debt is massive. She owes $1.2 million to the Small Business Administration.
Wow.
This was likely a COVID-era disaster loan that came due. When the pandemic hit, the SBA handed out massive loans to keep businesses afloat, but those notes eventually require repayment. Then, she owes $192,000 in state taxes to the Georgia Department of Revenue.
Wait, pause. $192,000 in state taxes. As a business owner, how do you even get nearly $250,000 in the hole with the state without them immediately shutting your doors and seizing your bank accounts?
State tax agencies are notoriously slow to audit, but when they do, they hit you with compounding interest and penalties. That money isn't just missed tax, it's likely heavily penalized. But it gets worse.
How?
She has over $80,000 in personal credit card bills, including $70,000 across 2 American Express cards and $12,000 on an Apple Card. She owes $107,000 to a restaurant supply store.
The supply store?
You cannot run a restaurant if the people supplying your fryers and spatulas cut you off. She owes $363,000 in unpaid rent to a commercial realty broker and $250,000 to an investment management company.
I understand the big corporate debt. But babes, I am screaming over the petty debts listed in this filing.
And we're so specific.
It's one thing to owe $1 million to the federal government, but the documents say she owes money to roadway toll authorities in both Georgia and Ohio. She owes money to Henry County EMS for an ambulance ride.
Yep.
She owes money to a children's dentistry practice. How do you expand a business across multiple states, claim you are a multimillionaire boss babe on national radio, but you forget to pay your literal easy pass toll tickets? How do you stiff your child's dentist?
It indicates a complete collapse of internal accounting. She claimed on the radio that her payroll and bottom-line operational costs were simply too high, leading to an alleged $20 million in overall business debt across all her entities.
$20 million.
When a company expands that fast, they often rob Peter to pay Paul. You stop paying the EZ pass to make the commercial rent. You stop paying the state tax to make payroll. But the true personal tragedy here is the real estate fallout and the mechanical domino effect of bankruptcy.
Yes, her house.
Her personal home was seized by Guardian Asset Management. They literally taped a seizure notice to her front window.
And the timing of it is brutal. Because of the bankruptcy filing, this seizure was legally supposed to be paused under an automatic stay, but it wasn't. Guardian Asset Management swooped in anyway.
It's ruthless.
And she desperately needed to rent that specific house out on April 1st to a waiting tenant to generate rental income. Without access to the property, she's losing the very cash flow she desperately needs to dig out of this hole. It's a logistical nightmare.
Precisely. Once the asset management company locks the doors, the asset becomes a liability. She can't monetize it. It's a textbook example of how quickly wealth can evaporate when it's built on massive leverage.
It is so sad, but also so incredibly messy. And speaking of Atlanta real estate messes, let's stay right in the Peach State. Drew Sidora. Babes, she just scored a massive late-stage legal victory and narrowly avoided being physically kicked out of her home by her ex.
The timeline on this divorce battle with her estranged husband, Ralph Pittman, has been legally brutal. In April, the judge initially awarded Ralph the primary house and primary custody of the kids.
Right.
The judge issued an order for Drew to physically vacate the property by May 31st. Drew then filed emergency court documents pleading for a reversal, claiming she was facing literal homelessness because she simply didn't have the liquid financial resources to secure a new, suitable place for her and the kids by that tight deadline.
And the shade of Drew's defense strategy was amazing. She essentially told the court, I can't afford to move because Ralph makes triple my income.
The classic maneuver.
And why does he make triple her income? Because she claims she legally has to give him half of her RHOA Bravo checks and half of all her social media brand deal cash. Imagine doing all the heavy lifting on a reality show, dealing with the drama, and then having to hand over half your paycheck to Ralph Pittman, who just sits there gaslighting you.
It's all.
But babes, the dramatic twist. Literally 2 days before her eviction deadline, on May 29th, the judge suddenly reversed course and ruled she doesn't have to vacate. Why? Because Ralph fell behind on the mortgage.
The legal irony is incredibly rich here. Let's break down the mechanics of this failure. Ralph fights tooth and nail in court to win the house and the settlement. He demands she be evicted so he can take full possession.
Yes.
And then, having won the asset, he fails to make the basic monthly payments required to keep it from going into foreclosure. The judge looked at that and realized Ralph couldn't maintain the status quo.
I mean, how embarrassing.
Drew even requested the judge hit him with financial sanctions and hold him in contempt of court for risking the property. It is a textbook example of a Pyrrhic victory on Ralph's part. You won the castle, but you forgot to pay the moat tax.
Drew must be cackling in that basement right now. She gets to stay. But let's shift from Bravo divorces to MTV custody battles because the mechanics of co-parenting are completely breaking down over here. Teen Mom 2 star Kale Lowry, mom of 7. Let me repeat that for the Snark Squad. 7 children, babes.
It's a small army.
With 4 different baby daddies. And right now, she is publicly dragging Joe Rivera, the father of her oldest son, 16-year-old Elliot.
Let's analyze Kale's specific complaints because this is a fascinating study in shifting parenting dynamics as children age. She went on Harry Jowsey's Boyfriend Material podcast and laid out her family structure.
Oh, boy.
She explicitly stated she has 3 of her kids 90% of the time and strongly implied to the audience that Joe is not really involved with Elliot. She also claimed that Elliot and Joe's current wife, stepmom V. Torres, don't really have a relationship either.
Yes, and the core of the fight is the logistics of the 50-50 custody arrangement. Kale argues that now that Elliot is turning 16, he has a car, he's driving, he has a social life, so a rigid 50-50 split doesn't work mechanically anymore.
Right.
She wants Elliot to be able to just send a text and come and go freely between her house and Joe's house whenever he wants. No schedule, just vibes. But she says Joe is pushing back incredibly hard.
As he should.
Joe wants structure. He doesn't want a 16-year-old treating his house like a hotel with a revolving door. And, babes, I have to push back on Kale's narrative here.
Proceed. What is your assessment?
Is it really that Joe is a bad dad who isn't involved, or is it simply that Kale is refusing to co-parent effectively because Joe won't let a hormonal teenager run the entire household schedule?
It's definitely the latter.
Raising a 16-year-old boy requires serious boundaries. You can't just have them swiping a key card, coming in at midnight, and treating your living room like a hotel lobby. And the ironclad digital footprint proof against her narrative is that Elliot was just seen on social media in April, literally on a family vacation with Joe, V, and his little sister Vivi.
Exactly.
You do not take a kid you have no relationship with on an expensive family vacation.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It seems to be a fundamental conflict of parenting philosophies that is being disguised as an accusation of negligence. Kale prefers a boundaryless, free-flowing, peer-to-peer dynamic with her teenagers, while Joe prefers standard parental structure and routine.
Yep.
To weaponize that difference in parenting styles on a highly public podcast is classic reality TV manipulation. She is trying to win in the court of public opinion what she cannot win in family court.
It is so messy. She is projecting her own chaos onto him. But if we want real, unfiltered mess, we have to talk about 90 Day Fiancé. Babes, Mito Fade, and Debbie Rolando. They just arrived at their new home in New Orleans, and the tension in that house was so thick you could physically cut it.
Let's highlight the absolute absurdity of their conflict, because it perfectly illustrates the delusion required to participate in this franchise.
Oh, absolutely.
Mito, who claims to be a massive Egyptian movie star and harbors grand illusions of conquering Hollywood, threw a monumental relationship-ending fit. And what was the catalyst? He asked Debbie to meticulously document his journey into the home by taking a video of him on her smartphone, and she accidentally hit the wrong button and took a still photo instead.
A photo. She hit the shutter button instead of record. And according to Debbie, he absolutely went off on her. He screamed at her.
It's ridiculous.
Mito, of course, claims he was totally calm and just said, "Let's do it again," and alleges that Debbie completely snapped and threw the cell phone directly in his face. Debbie literally looked at the cameras and said, "I don't document every 2 steps that I take because I don't think it's necessary."
And we must note the visual aesthetic of this relationship because the contrast is staggering. Mito is a devout Muslim who has stated he is waiting until marriage for physical intimacy.
Yes, the nightgown.
Debbie, to avoid tempting this self-proclaimed Egyptian movie star, was filmed walking around their new house wearing a heavy, floor-length, long-sleeved plaid flannel nightgown. It is the least Hollywood, least glamorous visual imaginable.
Babes, I was crying laughing at the flannel nightgown. She looked like she was heading out to pioneer the Oregon Trail and churn some butter, not seduce an international movie star.
Completely.
The sheer awkwardness of him demanding paparazzi-style footage while she's dressed for a blizzard in New Orleans.
Speaking of awkward relationship dynamics and people manipulating the cameras, let's move into our next segment, Summer House and the Valley. The Bravo universe is currently fractured over timelines, PR spin, and what constitutes an actual rat.
Yes. Okay, let's unpack the Summer House timeline. Carl Ratkin just did an interview saying the entire cast is still completely confused by Amanda Batula and Wes Wilson's relationship timeline. Because, babes, they broke the internet in March when they announced they were officially dating, right after Amanda publicly split from Kyle Cook after a decade together.
The timeline presented to the public is highly suspicious. At the Season 10 reunion, they attempted to clear the air and set the record straight. Their official story, produced for the cameras, is they admitted they kissed in February.
Right.
But they swear on their lives that they absolutely did not have sex or become fully intimate until after the public announcement dropped in March.
I am pushing back so hard on this. I need the Snark Squad to weigh in. Do we believe this timeline for one single second?
Not at all.
Or is this a classic, highly orchestrated reality TV PR cover-up designed to protect Amanda's image right after a messy divorce? Let's look at the mechanics of this. How do you go from a toxic, decade-long relationship, finally break free, start kissing the hot new guy in February, but then you just hold hands and wait patiently until the People magazine statement drops a month later?
It's implausible.
It screams crisis management. They didn't want the audience thinking she cheated on Kyle.
It defies all known behavioral logic for reality television stars in their 30s. The PR mechanism here is obvious. You stagger the release of information to control the narrative fallout.
Exactly.
The cast isn't buying it, Carl isn't buying it, and frankly, analytically speaking, I'm not buying it.
Right.
But speaking of PR nightmares and awful Bravo men, Paige DeSorbo just absolutely annihilated the Valley's Danny Bucco on her Giggly Squad podcast.
Babes, she dragged him to the center of the earth. She didn't mince words. She called him an actual rat. She said his behavior is diabolical for how he treats his wife, Nia, who is currently navigating severe postpartum struggles.
It's a completely accurate assessment of the psychological manipulation we witnessed. Let's look at Danny's behavior on the San Diego cast trip. It was deplorable.
Hard to watch.
He was visibly annoyed at his wife for needing basic logistical help with their newborn baby simply so she could sit down and eat a meal. He acted like basic fatherhood was a massive imposition on his vacation time. Paige articulated what the entire audience was screaming at their televisions.
Exactly. And I am so here for Janet Caperna backing her up. Janet went on a radio show and publicly demanded that Danny take full accountability at the upcoming Season 3 reunion.
Good for her.
Janet wants formal apologies. Also, quick side note on Janet, she confirmed the rumors that she and Jasmine Good finally made up, and she is officially attending Jasmine's wedding to Melissa Marie. But babes, the Bravo wedding that is definitely not happening. Kristen Doubt and Luke Broderick.
Let's examine the timeline of this collapse.
Yeah.
They got engaged in a highly publicized moment in September. They had their baby, Kaya, in June.
Yes.
And now, almost immediately after, Luke is doing the press circuit giving interviews, saying they have officially paused all wedding planning to refigure out their identity as parents, and that rushing into a wedding right now is the wrong move.
Refigure out their identity is classic shady reality TV translation for we are actively fighting, we can't stand each other right now, and we are absolutely never walking down that aisle. You don't pause a wedding if you're blissfully happy.
It's a permanent pause. The relationship is currently in hospice care. But let's look across the pond for a moment at a completely different franchise model. Love Island UK 2026 is launching tonight with a massive production twist.
Ooh, I love a twist.
For the first time ever in the show's history, they are abandoning the daytime villa entrance. It's a nighttime premiere party under the stars hosted by Maya Jama.
The aesthetics are going to be incredible. I love a night shoot. The lighting is going to be so moody and dramatic. But meanwhile, back home, Love Island USA is an absolute unmitigated disaster before season 8 even films episode 1.
A total mess.
Ariana Madix has been calling this hosting gig her absolute dream job. But it is getting so incredibly messy behind the scenes. They literally just booted a contestant, Vasana Montgomery, right after the official cast reveal.
The vetting process for these massive network shows is clearly fundamentally flawed. Let's look at how the internet operates. The moment a cast is announced, digital sleuths go to work.
Every single time.
In Vasana's case, leaked private videos surfaced online, allegedly showing her casually using the N-word while rapping a song, and again in a separate video while playing an arcade game. Production was reportedly completely unaware until the internet unearthed it and the backlash trended on social media.
And it's not even the first time this exact scenario has played out. Last season, they had to emergency kick out Ulissa Escobar for the exact same behavior that was found on an old podcast.
It's a recurring failure.
How are highly paid casting directors and network executives not finding this digital footprint before they sign the contracts and fly these people halfway across the world to Fiji? And then there's the other controversial contestant, Mackenzie Ennis.
Yes. We must impartially report the pop culture fallout here without taking any political stance, as we are simply observing the mechanics of reality TV fandom. Mackenzie is currently facing massive internet heat because photos surfaced of her posing with people wearing mégier.
The internet found those so fast.
Her father has scrambled to give a statement to TMZ claiming the family does not support Donald Trump and that the photos are out of context, but the audience backlash is already in full swing. It perfectly demonstrates how intensely and aggressively the modern fandom scrutinizes these casts before episode 1 even airs. You cannot hide your past.
It's honestly terrifying to be cast on reality TV now. They will find every mistake you ever made. And babe, speaking of the terrifying long-term psychological toll of reality TV, we have to talk about Larsa Pippen's son, Preston.
This is actually really sad.
He is currently starring on the new show, Calabasas Confidential, and he just gave an incredibly heartbreaking, unfiltered confession. He talked about how his mom's highly publicized rumored affair with the rapper Future completely wrecked his life when he was just 15 years old.
It's a deeply sobering look at the collateral damage of these shows. The adults make the choices, but the children pay the emotional tax. Let's break down the trauma timeline. Larsa and NBA legend Scottie Pippen go through a messy public divorce.
Right.
Larsa begins dating Future, heavily covered by the tabloids.
Right.
And Preston details the horrific trauma he endured at high school. He said kids at his school would purposely, maliciously play Future's music loudly on their phones when he walked down the hallway, just to mock him about his parents' divorce and his mother's sex life. It's cruel.
Can you imagine being a 15-year-old kid already dealing with the awkwardness of high school and your classmates are actively weaponizing a Billboard hit against you because your mom is dating the artist? It's so dark. The psychological damage is permanent.
It perfectly connects to a fascinating recent interview given by Paul Menes, a prominent Los Angeles entertainment lawyer. He went on record calling standard reality TV contracts legally unconscionable.
That's a strong word.
He outlined how these networks structure the deals to trap talent, and by extension their minor families, in a corporate machine where they have zero bargaining power. You sign away your life rights, your privacy, the right to sue for emotional distress, and the psychological well-being of your children, all for a fleeting, highly edited moment of fame and a meager episodic fee. The power imbalance between the network and the talent is staggering.
It's a literal deal with the devil. You sell your soul for a blue check mark. And speaking of deals, the Mormons are making massive corporate deals. Segment 4, babes.
Here we go.
The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is practically turning into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Executive producer Jeff Jenkins just announced that 3 more franchise spin-offs are coming right behind the upcoming Orange County iteration.
The franchise expansion strategy here is incredibly aggressive. He explicitly stated in an interview that they are actively considering Lives of Catholic Wives, Lives of Jewish Wives, and Lives of Islamic Wives.
Wow.
They are systematically attempting to monetize every single religious subculture in America by applying the exact same reality TV formula.
I will ethically object, but I will absolutely watch every single one of them. I need to see the Catholic wives fighting at the parish bake sale. But while the producers are in the boardroom plotting world domination, the current cast is out here acting a complete fool. Jordan and Nagatakara, Jesse Draper's estranged husband.
Oh, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, babes. He went on the Food Network show 100 Cooks, and the network's PR team posted a completely normal promotional photo of him. Jordan then took that photo and posted the quote-unquote same photo to his own Instagram account, but he was instantly accused of using AI to edit his face.
It's deeply fundamentally embarrassing. The fans immediately noticed the biological discrepancies. In Jordan's version, his cranial structure is literally less round. He shaved inches off his jawline. His skin is artificially tanner, and his hair looks completely different.
He changed his skull.
The profound vanity required to utilize artificial intelligence to alter a standard promotional photo from a basic cable cooking show is wild.
It's so pathetic. We can see the original photo, Jordan. And to make matters worse, while he's out here face-tuning his skull structure, Dumois just dropped a grainy video of him at a crowded bar aggressively making out with a mystery blonde, right after filing for divorce from Jesse.
And Jesse, for her part, is not sitting at home crying.
Yeah.
She is already casually dating Marciana Brunette. But wait, let's trace the mechanics of this incredibly incestuous web. Jesse is dating Marciano, but before that, she was allegedly caught kissing Chase McWhorter, who is the literal ex-husband of her own castmate, Miranda Hope.
It's a swap meet.
The recycled nature of this specific dating circle is a sociological case study in poor boundary management.
A swap meet of exes. Nobody leaves the bubble. Okay, let's check in on our Housewives feuds because physical boundaries are being crossed. The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Liz McGraw and Jo Ellen Tiberi got into a massive screaming match on the way to a Frank Sinatra impersonator show.
As one naturally does when preparing for fake Sinatra.
Right. They were in the Spurner van arguing about whether castmate Alicia's family was ever truly homeless in the past. And things got physical. Jo Ellen actually reached out and touched Liz's face while trying to make a point during the argument, and Liz completely snapped.
You never do that.
She yelled, "Stop effing with me and get your hand off me." She said Jo Ellen's hand felt like it was burning a physical hole through her skin.
Let's analyze the conflict resolution failure here.
Yeah.
Jo Ellen's defense in her confessional was, "I'm just trying to be a good friend. Friends should be able to touch each other."
No.
Analytically, violating someone's personal physical space during a heated, escalating verbal altercation is the absolute worst de-escalation tactic imaginable. It triggers a fight-or-flight response.
Never touch the face. It is the universal rule of reality TV. Do not point the finger and do not touch the face. And the feuds are crossing state lines right now. Kim D from New Jersey is beefing with RHRI's Rula Pontarelli.
Oh, Rule made a mistake.
Babes. Kim D was on her Patreon podcast discussing Rula's husband Brian's alleged affair. Rula got mad and made a fatal error. She demad Kim privately, calling her podcast sad and shameful and saying she should know better than to talk about someone's family.
Big mistake. Huge. Let's establish a rule for all reality stars. You do not send a private, emotional message to Kim DePaola expecting it to remain private.
Never.
Kim D's entire brand is exposing secrets. She read the DM verbatim on her podcast. She absolutely destroyed Rula, stating she feels incredibly sorry for her for tolerating such public disrespect from a man and bragged about how people happily pay money to hear her opinions.
She eviscerated her.
It was a massive tactical error on Rula's part to engage. You do not feed the troll.
Kim D will print your private DMs on a billboard on the New Jersey Turnpike. Speaking of Jersey, season 15 is actively filming right now. They took a cast trip to Woodstock. Can you imagine the spray tan Jersey women walking around the spiritual healing crystals of Woodstock?
The visual is amazing.
And there are 6 brand new women joining Teresa, Melissa, and Dolores to try and save this franchise. The insider leak says Melvina Blushme is the 6th newbie. She's the co-founder of Dirty Pelican Mixers.
What is highly concerning from a production standpoint is the massive leak claiming this entire season is going to be the Teresa show. focused entirely on her daughter Gia opening a new restaurant.
Ugh, why?
Let's talk about the mechanics of ensemble television. If you alienate half the cast to focus exclusively on a single cast member's family business venture, you risk completely unbalancing the show's dynamic. The audience tunes in for ensemble conflict, not a prolonged infomercial for a moderately priced Italian eatery.
I don't want to watch a restaurant opening. Give me the table flips. Give me the chaos. Let's hit the quick hits across the other cities before we wrap up. RHOC.
Kelly Dodd is in serious, multi-tiered legal peril. Beyond the recent revenge porn charges she's facing, her own biological brother, Eric Meza, went on a podcast and claimed that Child Protective Services almost took her 19-year-old daughter, Jolie, away years ago.
That's horrible.
He alleges Kelly forced the child to lie to CPS evaluators because Jolie was terrified of her mother's temper. He went on public record calling his own sister the lowest of the low.
To have your own flesh and blood brother go on a microphone and say that publicly, so incredibly dark. Meanwhile, over in Orange County, Heather Dubrow and Vicki Gunvalson are out here physically fighting for their lives, filming season 20.
They are exhausted.
Terry Dubrow said Heather is so physically and emotionally exhausted from filming the screaming matches that she stayed in bed until 2 p.m. after the finale party. Filming these shows is an extreme endurance sport.
Moving to New York, RHONY's Sai De Silva finally addressed the elephant in the room, her sudden divorce from David Craig after 17 years. She gave a very measured, PR-approved statement saying they simply grew apart and are focusing on co-parenting.
Very PR.
And in a blast from the Bravo past, Kristen Teichman went on a podcast to remind everyone that Bethany Frankel treated her like a literal dog during season 2 of RHONY. Oh, and casting news. Devin Simone, who you might remember from The Real World, Brooklyn, and MTV's The Challenge, is officially joining RHONY Season 16.
I love Devin. I watched her on The Challenge. She is so smart. She knows how to produce television, and she's going to bring the heat to New York. And finally, down in RHOA, Shemaya Morton went on a massive press tour and completely roasted the entire cast.
You went in.
She called Sadora Drunocchio and said she's a chronic liar. And she went after Angela Oakley, calling her big, burly, and bothered, and referred to her as a linebacker with a size 13 shoe.
The insults were incredibly specific, highly physical, and deeply personal. And Portia Williams, never one to miss an opportunity to lay the groundwork for reunion shade, jumped into the Instagram comments to coldly reply to Shemaya. She said, "Happy Pride to you too, just a short while until reunion, see you soon."
Oh, she is ready.
That is a thinly veiled threat of the violence to come on the couches.
Portia is sharpening her proverbial claws. She is loading the chamber. The reunion is going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Which brings me to our final analytical thought for the day. We have discussed the timeline lies of reality stars, the fake AI faces to protect fragile egos, the legally unconscionable contracts trapping families, and the off-camera feuds playing out in DMs.
Right.
It raises a provocative question for you, the audience. Are we reaching a critical era in pop culture where the off-camera federal lawsuits, the leaked DMs, and the unhinged podcast interviews are actually way better, more compelling television than the highly produced, heavily edited episodes the networks are airing?
Yeah.
Has the meta-narrative consumed the actual show?
Oh, absolutely. The real mess is happening on Instagram Live at 2 a.m. and in federal court filings. The episodes are just the commercials for the real drama. Babes, my mind is completely blown. Thank you to the Snark Squad for hanging out with us through all of this chaos today.
We truly appreciate you navigating the madness with us. The internet is dark and full of terrors.
We have to ask you guys directly. Get in the comments right now. What is your absolute go-to Starbucks order when you are having a terrible day? And do you think vanilla bean frappes actually count as breakfast, or am I living a massive lie?
It's a complete lie. Also, what is the very first, most ridiculous thing you would do if you won the lottery tomorrow? Walk us through the logistics. Let us know.
And most importantly, tell us, does my bestie deserve to automatically be the +1 to drag bingo? Or is venue capacity a completely valid logistical excuse? Defend me in the comments.
Do not defend her. I will be reading every single comment for personal validation. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Share the podcast with your messiest bestie.
Yes, and please send in your own shady, snarky, or stupid workplace stories. We want to hear about your break room snack bandits and your supply closet dramas. Stay messy, stay sweet, and babes, we will see you on the Snark side.